Hey babes, welcome to my channel. If you are a woman, queer woman, or femme person who wants to start a business, or you have been at it for a while and it feels like throwing spaghetti at the walls, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will have a clear framework to start or refine your business. A little bit about me. Hello, my name is Elizabeth Cunningham. I am a queer entrepreneur. I have started multiple small businesses, some successful, some not successful, and I am currently also taking a non-traditional MBA program. I've been a full-time entrepreneur since 2020. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I'm here to save you some time. So the process that I want to talk to you about today is based off of the scientific method, which is a proven structure that is built for learning and growth. Building a business, regardless of how big or small that business is an iterative learning process. One of the biggest mistakes that I made at the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey was that I was trying to find the right way to do it. I was trying to find the way to build a business. And what I have discovered is that there's not a right way to build a business. However, there are certain structures and frameworks that you can operate inside of that make it easier, smoother, save you time, money, and energy, which certainly using this method is going to save you a lot of time and money and energy. And in being an iterative process, it's also going to have you learn faster, which is again going to save you time and money and energy. The faster that you can make mistakes and then learn from them and then grow and then make another mistake and then learn from it and grow, the easier this is going to be for you, and hopefully the more fun that it is going to be for you as well. I am all about having fun in this process. Yes, it is hard. Yes, it is challenging. Yes, sometimes I'm frustrated and I want to throw my computer out the window, but most of the time I am having a good time, and my goal is really to have fun, and I hope that that is the case for you as well. So without further ado, the first step in this process is picking a niche. Now, my former self is extremely annoyed that is how I'm starting this video. Picking a niche has been one of the hardest things for me. But how I was thinking about picking a niche before was I have to pick a niche that I'm going to stick with forever. And I have to cut off all of these other parts of me or all of these other people that I feel really stoked to help or contribute to in some way. And so that's one of the reasons why picking a niche was really challenging for me. Picking a niche actually is also an iterative process. So you're not actually married to this whatever niche it is that you pick first, because you're going to continue to iterate on it. So I want you to think about who would you be excited about working with and what problem would you be excited about solving or you're qualified to solve just for the next 3 to 5 years. Put a cap on it. This is not the rest of your life. This is not necessarily like your legacy. And in those 3 to 5 years, it is going to iterate. So an example from my own life is that when I first started my relationship coaching business back in, well, arguably in 2017, but taking it full time in 2020, I started with just saying, I want to help people build beautiful, harmonious relationships. That's it. And I know how to do that, and I'm qualified to do that, and so I'm going to start doing that. And then I niched down to polyamorous people. I want to help polyamorous people build beautiful, harmonious relationships. Then, I think 2 years later, I niched down even further to help queer and polyamorous people. And the more that I niched down, the better response that I got from people. Which leads me to 3 hard truths about niching down, especially if this is something that is hard for you or you feel very averse to like niching down. So the first one is you literally cannot help everyone. Like, I know that you probably have a heart, a soul, and a skill set that really wants to help as many people as possible. But literally, logistically, you cannot help everyone. There are 9 billion people on this planet, which is a crazy number. And you are just one person with the amount of time that you have. So literally, you can't help everyone, and that's okay. And you actually don't want to help everyone. Like, if you were really honest with yourself, you actually don't want to help everyone. There are people on this planet that it would be extremely difficult for you to help, whether that be because of your personalities, because of your identity, because of your skill set, because they don't want to be helped by you for whatever reason, right? So one of the reasons why we niche down is because there is a group of people that you are so suited to help, and they want to be helped by you, and those are your people, and that is one of the reasons why we niche down. Second hard truth is people don't really buy you. A majority of the people in your customer base are never really going to know you, like you as the person that you are. Like, you are the service provider, you are the person who created this product. Maybe they do like you, like they like a part of your personality, they align with your values. That's amazing, that's great. But at the end of the day, the reason that they're coming to you is because of the pain that they have, the problem that they have that they want to be solved, or the thing that they want to gain, whatever it is, from whatever your product or service is. This can be an authentic relationship, and I think in small businesses, there's so much more opportunity to have an authentic relationship with your customers, and it is still a transactional relationship. Like, they probably wouldn't be there if you didn't solve the problem that they are currently having. So part of niching down is also because you want to find the people with the problem that you can specifically solve so that you can solve that for them. Also, niching down is your competitive advantage. It makes you become more magnetic, not less. For example, going to the dentist. Like, we all need to go to the dentist, and like most of the time, like, you look at a dentist and okay, these are the dentists that are covered by my insurance, and this is the dentist that's closest to me or closest to my work or closest to my kid's school. That's probably how you pick a dentist, right? What if, like, for me, if I found a dentist that was in my network that is a queer affirming dentist who does a lot of great things for the LGBTQ plus community, what if that dentist is 4 miles away instead of the nearest dentist, which is like half a mile away? Like, I actually might go to the queer affirming dentist and the one that's giving back to our community, because that is the person that I want to support. So them being a queer affirming dentist actually gave them a competitive advantage to gain business, when usually most people just choose, business off of convenience, right? So niching down also gives you a competitive advantage as well. Okay, so step 1, pick your niche. Who is it that you help, and what is the problem that you help them solve? Which takes us into step 2, creating and testing your hypothesis. So let's pick another example. Let's say that you're someone who helps people with their gardens, and you live in the Pacific Northwest. And so your niche is helping new gardeners grow indigenous plants in the Pacific Northwest in their home garden. That is a beautiful, brilliant niche. It is very, very clear. But what problem do these people have? And so at first, you're just going to kind of make up the problem that they have. So maybe the problem that these people have is that they don't know what is indigenous to the Pacific Northwest. And not only do they not know that, but they also, if they were to Google it, and you can find a list of plants that are indigenous to the Pacific Northwest, they don't actually know how to plant and take care of them in a way that is actually going to have them live and thrive in their garden. I'm not a gardener. I know very little about this. This was the example that I picked. So now what you're going to do to test that hypothesis is you're going to find first-time gardeners in the Pacific Northwest that are struggling to build their garden. That could be on meetup groups, social media, going to your local farmer's market, and you're actually going to find these people, and then you're going to have market research conversations with them. But I don't want it to be formal. And actually, I'm going to give you a book recommendation. So the book is The Mom Test. It's by Rob Fitzpatrick, and it's a very short, very easy to read book. I think on audiobook it's like 3 hours long. So if you consume social media or watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts or something like that, just replace that with this book for like 3 days and you'll get it all the way done, all the way through. But the point of this book is to have market research conversations that feel casual, that feel like curious conversations that you would ask someone, and it doesn't make the other person feel like they're being interrogated or like questioned, right? Like it just feels like a genuinely curious conversation. And the two things that I really, really, really want you to take out of this book and doing these very casual market research calls or conversations is getting what they have done and why they have done that. You want to avoid hypotheticals. Questions like, what would you do in this situation? Or would you get help for this? Like, that's not based in reality. That's based off of conjecture. And a lot of the times, things that sound like a good idea, people will agree to, but when push comes to shove, they won't actually follow through with that. So you want to really gain insight into what people have done, why they have done that, and especially if they have bought a service for that too. Like, especially if they've bought a book or they have hired someone, or if you find them at the farmer's market, for example, they're actively purchasing things right there, right? So you want to get to a certain point where it's like, why are you making these buying decisions? Like, what is behind that? And so maybe you ask them a question that's like, how long have you had your garden? What are the challenges that you have? And what have you done to solve those challenges? And why is that challenging for you? Like, a challenge that you have picking the right plants for your garden. Oh, like, why is that important to you to pick the right plants? And really getting the what they're doing and why they're doing it. And the importance of this is that you want to be able to then gain insight into what your customers are actually thinking and doing, because then you can use that to test your hypothesis. Is it actually a problem for people to find indigenous plants and then plant them in a way that has these plants flourish? Is that something that they're struggling with? Or is your hypothesis wrong? Are people doing just fine with that, right? And then in asking these questions, you can find out what their actual problem is and what they're already doing to solve it and why it's so important to them. And the other thing that's important about these conversations is if you can get to a point where it's really emotional for them. Maybe this person is really concerned about conservation and wildlife and making sure that the area maintains its indigenous plants. That is really good information to gather about your niche and what they care about and what they're dealing with, right? So in testing your hypothesis, are people struggling with this? Yes or no? If you get a yes to that, then moving forward with that. But if no, that's not what they're dealing with, okay, new hypothesis based off of the information that you have gained. Now, I want to pause here. And can you see that in doing this method, we have spent zero money so far? We haven't touched a website. We haven't had to like Google anything except for maybe where to find these people and have these conversations. But this has all been for free. And this has all been just going out and talking to people and seeing what people are actually dealing with. Because what you don't want to do is have a great idea and then build something that people actually don't care about, because that's not really the problem that they're having. It was just a good idea that you had, right? So a lot of business, and especially inside of this process of iterating and testing your hypotheses, allowing yourself to be wrong is a lot about humility, setting your ego aside, because at the end of the day, we want to actually help people with the real problems that they're having and not the problems that we feel really good that we decided that we can solve. So saving time, saving energy, saving money. We love it. All right. So once you have a solid, like, oh, this is my niche, this is the problem that they have, this is like how I can solve that problem, then you're going to go on to step number 3, which is to create a prototype and to test your offer. When you create your prototype, I don't want you to actually go make anything yet. I want you to do this very, very, very rudimentary. Either create a slide like on Google Slides or Microsoft Office or something like that. Create a slide of your product. These are the benefits. This is the suggested price. Like, I want you to be so rudimentary about this, okay? Or create a landing page that's, again, very, very, very simple. This is my product. This is who it's for. These are the benefits that it has. And when I say benefits, I mean like actual physical features. Like with the gardening, it's not like be a more confident gardener. Like that's not a benefit. Like what does that even mean? Feature or benefit is like I will come over to your house and survey your garden and look at your soil and talk to you about what would work best at your house, right? Like if you said that on the website, people are like, I know exactly what that means. I can picture that in my mind. So that would be something to put on there. And then maybe list out like 4 benefits and then list out a price. And then you're going to do more testing. So maybe you reach out to some of the people who you've already had conversations with, where it's just like, hey, based off of the information that I've been gathering, I've created this thing. Will you look at it and let me know what you think? And then having conversations about it from there. Again, asking the question like, why? What does resonate with you about this? What doesn't work for you about this? Why would this work for you? So you are starting to get a little bit more hypothetical now, but also with the price, you can say like, I'm not trying to sell this to you right now. And if I were, and I was like, hey, put $50 down towards this, $100 down towards this, whatever, would you do that? Would you actually give me money for this? Because that is also going to start to get closer towards that commitment for people. And the closer that you get to people actually committing to something, the more honest that they get. Because what you want to avoid is fluff conversations or compliments or just, people just trying to be nice to you, polite to you, which is fine, but it's just not helpful in building a business. What you want to get to is where you actually get people to say yes or no, that they would give you money right now for this, or they would sign up for a call or, whatever your call to action is. That is a lot closer to the actual truth. And the more heat that you build, and heat meaning like the more people that are actually interested, and what that might sound like is, if you had a credit card processor, I would buy this from you right now. That's real heat. When can I buy this from you? That's real heat. Not people being like, oh yeah, like that's a really cool idea, or like, oh, I'm sure that like some people would love that, Like that's not real heat. Those are just compliments from very well-meaning people and we love them, but that is not going to actually have us have a viable business. So inside of step 3, create the prototype and test your offer. And so then you're going to tweak it and you can keep making hypotheses along the way, right? Like if I put these benefits in, then people will want to buy it. Then go test it, right? And then the next thing that you're going to do is after you take these iterative steps and you continue to test and tweak and test and tweak until you are getting people saying like, can I actually buy this from you? Like, could you take my money? When will this be available? Once people start saying things like that, to you, then that's when you're going to actually start having sales conversations. That's when you're actually going to start to do your marketing, and you're going to use all of the information that you have gathered up until then. Also, inside of iteration, you can start making money in this process. And I will give you an example from my relationship coaching business. So, like I said, I started this relationship coaching business, and I started with one-on-one coaching. And then as I continued to have market research conversations with people, I was narrowing down my niche. I was learning how to express that in my marketing and what I was sharing with people. And I also built a group program off of that. I learned a lot in that process. And so then I iterated to my next type of group coaching program, which included an online course, which was something that my former participants had asked for. And then from that version of the program, then I made a new iteration, because it was like, oh, what really worked best inside of this learning environment was this, and what didn't work was this, right? So along the way, I was still having people pay me for this service, and I was continually iterating and making it better. So you do not have to get anything right. You just have to listen to your customers, what they're dealing with, what they want, what problems they're having, what's working for them and what's not working for them. And then when you create that next prototype, then you can sell that and you can have people pay for that. And then you'll make an even better one after that, right? So you can still have a working, viable business. I hit 6 figures when I was in the one-on-one stage. And then I just built from there. So inside of this iterative process, you can be getting paid the entire time that you are doing it. Okay. So recap, pick a niche, and then form a hypothesis and have real conversations around that using what you're going to learn in the mom test. And then step 3 is prototype, and then test and iterate and repeat. And through all of this, I want you to stay curious and get messy. I want you to throw perfectionism to the wind. I know, easier said than done. I am a perfectionist myself, but throw perfectionism to the wind, all right? If you want more content like this from me, you can like this video and subscribe to this channel. You can also sign up for my newsletter, which is in the description. Or if I'm someone who you want to get one-on-one coaching or mentoring from to start or hone in and make your business better and do these types of iterations in your business, the link to connect with me is in the description of this video as well. I love you. I just want you to win and be successful and have a great time and add your beautiful gifts and contribution to the world and to your customers with your amazing, fantastic, wonderful small business. All right. I love you, babe. You got this.